What's going on, awesome people? Welcome to another episode of Awesome People Instagram Live. Do you know what this is all about? Are you familiar with the IG series? Well, let me tell you. About a week before December, I was like, you know what? I really want to do some conversation with some awesome Persians. And I was trying to figure out the most creative way to do it. And I decided to go with making a little challenge of doing 31 straight days of IG Lives with the most awesome Persian entrepreneurs, artists, creators, and just, good people doing great things. I just feel like our community is full of gems, and I just want to do my part to recognize them and find out from them their stories, their challenges, learn from them, and hopefully it's of value and entertainment and inspiration and motivation for those of you who've been tuning in. So thank you for all of you who have been tuning in so far. This is day number 20, and my guest today is more than just a guest. It's more than just an employee. It's more than even just a friend. It's a confidant. It's a person that I've had so much respect, love, gratitude, and I could honestly go longer than that to kind of explain all the great traits that my guest Kia Kondori has today. But before we get to inviting him on, where we talk about the prejudgments that the Persian community especially has towards DJs and lawyers, just want to kind of take 10 seconds and do our 10 seconds of gratitude. I've tried my best to have these integrated to every IG Live. I think that we all go through ebbs and flows in our days, and some days are harder, some days we're thrown snowballs and curveballs and every other kind of ball that hits you right in the face. And admittedly, today is definitely one of those overwhelming days for me, which means that these 10 seconds of gratitude are going to be even more special. And I'm going to take a 10-second pause. If you're having those kind of days too, join me for 10 seconds and let's just kind of appreciate all the goodness in our life. So let's go. All right. I feel better, to be honest with you. I feel like my heart rate has gone down, and now I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And let me just get right to it. I'm going to bring in Kia Kondori. I'm going to let him give a little background in case you don't know him. If you're Kia Kondori. There he is, sideways. Come on, Kia.
Sorry, I put this bracket up. Give me 1 second. Let me.
Yeah. See, he might be a great DJ and a great lawyer, but he's not a professional IG liver right here.
No, yeah. See, yeah, that's where the tech side. We're too busy writing our doc. There we go.
So we're both. All right, there we go. We both are getting off to a rough start. I realized that my AirPods weren't even connected, so now we're good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
So,
guy in.
Yeah. Well, you're looking sharp, man. I can already tell that you have your lawsuit suit on. It's great.
I appreciate it. One of the things you started already talking about it in terms of, people taking us seriously is, what are we dressed? You dress to impress. Sometimes in the courtroom we wear a tie that's a little too flashy, and now we're all masked up, so you can't really see a judge's reaction or face. But this is the 9 to 5 attire. Sometimes when it goes to the 5 to 9, shirt's a little bit more open and no tie. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I've been looking forward to today to talk with you. Everybody's so used to us talking about events, and we'll get there, but there's a whole other side for today's conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we get to talking about events, which we will for sure, why don't you go ahead and fill people in who've never had the pleasure of getting to know you or know anything about what you do. Kind of tell us about a little bit of your background, and then also the 2 careers that you've been kicking some ass in for the last 10 plus years.
Sure. So obviously I'm an attorney. I have my own law firm, Kondori Moorad. We're based out of Northern Virginia. We service DC, Maryland, Virginia, Virgin Islands. We had a couple clients down there. We primarily are in the estate law, landlord-tenant, business, real property side of things, so a lot cleaner. We don't do any of the crim, traffic, personal injury. But for me, myself, I'm in my mid-30s, not going to give away the age. We'll just leave it at that. Born and raised right here in Northern Virginia, never been to Iran. So it's always a different thing when people say, oh, have you been there? What do you think? I'm like, I have honestly no clue. But in terms of being here in the United States, one of the things is we always try to help out our fellow countrymen and fellow people. And a lot of it comes right through the legal side of it. And then some of it comes on the fun side when we get to do their weddings and events like that. I've had my own firm for just about 7 years now. I wish I could have a little camera here in the little corner because a lot of days it's like a movie. There are tons of things happening and flying and calls and different things popping up in different cases, but I enjoy every single minute of it and wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Great. And then why don't you just give us a little background as to like why you chose the career of law and then why you chose the career of DJing. We're going to keep on going parallel, and then we're going to talk about the opinions of others, especially in the Persian community, and how you've been able to deal with some of that prejudgment.
Sure. So I actually started, I didn't just wake up, a lot of people say, oh, I want to do this or I want to be this. I didn't know really in terms of becoming an attorney. I had started in the politics side, so even when I was in high school, I was very involved in the politics side and being part of political campaigns and state senate and things like that. And everybody that I ran into was always a lawyer. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this guy's a lawyer, this guy's a lawyer. They got to use it for something. And so naturally I was like, okay, that seems like it's cool. I don't know really much about what they do other than they're the go-to when you need stuff drafted or written or speaking or in a court. And we'll see. I don't know. I was really young, 14, 15, 16, and I was unsure of the career path. Naturally for us, like my sister, dentist, uncle, doctor, you know how it goes. That's kind of your pathway. And I was like, you know what? I'm not in the mindset to be dealing with blood and all that. I'm not going to deal with that. I was very big on the art side of things, more so, which kind of tails into the music side. But when it came to career path, my parents, God bless them, they're still on me to this day. But they always said, look, you can have your fun, do whatever you want, but you have to have a solid foundation, solid career, solid education. If you have that, you don't actually have to do it all the time, but you have something to always fall back on. So when I got into the political arena and working on campaigns, and I worked on 3 of them, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go down this path, and I became a certified paralegal at George Mason, which is where I did my undergrad. And I did that, and then I rolled right into saying, you know what? Yeah, let's keep this going. Now, during that time, I also worked for Dimitri Pikrolidis, who's a very well-known personal injury attorney right here in Northern Virginia. And so I've been in a law firm since I was 16. And I've been, for a few decades now, that'll give away my age. I've been in a law firm for a few decades, whether it's my own or somebody else's, and I enjoy it. It takes a lot of, the wiggling of your own personal schedule, because what you're doing is fixing other people's problems. There's no other way to explain what lawyers do to me. We get paid, sometimes we do it for free, but we get paid to fix people's problems. And money aside, for me, it's really about helping people when they're caught in these situations or when they are wronged or when they have been wronged, to get them out of those situations. And that's kind of the root of why I became an attorney.
Nice. And so let's go ahead and now go into the topic of, some of the, not pushback, but just, things that people say about lawyers, things like, oh, they're like, well, I'll let you kind of explain, what kind of stuff did you deal with as far as people's prejudgments of lawyers and how that impacts you, because I know you very well. And I know you're one of those lawyers who genuinely cares to help, and I think it would suck to be in a career that you love, but then others things that you're like a charlatan or taking advantage or whatever. So tell me about what kind of prejudgments you have to deal with and how you deal with it.
So, the way I've always seen it, and it's not even, it's the big Persian thing in the Persian community too. One of it's, I would call it so young, but I'm younger. I'm on the younger side of attorneys. And, there's a lot of young attorneys, but a lot of people don't take us seriously. So that's the first thing, is the age part, because through the community, they always see you as, oh, it was that kid, or, oh, it's the DJ that was DJing that party. What does he know? What is he doing? Right. you know, I'll just go to somebody else, some older person who's 20, 30, 40 years, and I'll go to them instead. That's the first part when it comes to the age and just believing them. The second part is that just in a general sense, for me, at least what I've experienced, Persian and non-Persian, people feel like attorneys are crooks. You know, a lot of times they'll see like $350 an hour, or $300 an hour, $400 an hour, sometimes more, or thousands of dollars up front. They're like, well, what am I paying you for? You know what? At the end of the day, I might as well just do it myself. I'll have you tell me kind of what I need to do or the gist of what I need. I can do it myself. I don't need you. And that's one of the things where it comes into the perception. Attorneys are crooks. All they do is they just want to take your money and not do anything. They don't really help you out. And so for me, it's always a day by day. It's one of those things where I have to do like a sales job right before I hire or a client wants to sign me. And then on top of it, they don't really realize it until it's the Saturday email that pops up or the 8:30 p.m. phone call that I make when I'm talking to them. It's only in those moments where they're like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, there's a difference here. And I can't speak for other attorneys. I know the general kind of rubric for attorneys and the mold is that once 5 o'clock hits, they're off. Now, for me, my name's on the front of the door. So I hold myself to a higher standard, and my law partner does as well. We always tell our staff, don't be like us, because we're 24/7, and you've seen it. I'll be sitting there at a dinner table 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, let me just peek at my email. It's very unhealthy, but that's the only way I know how to kind of go about it day by day to break that connotation. People are paying for a service, and so I want to do right by them.
That's awesome. And so now let's transition to the DJing aspect, you know, where I feel like you have some things, you know, that you want to get off your chest about, again, opinions or presumptions, you know. So why don't you kind of touch on that with regards to the DJing?
Yeah, so, and it's funny, it even happened last week. You know, I was out and, you know, I'm not in a suit. I'm not always wearing a suit. You know, when I get home, the first thing I want to do is I'm taking this tie off. I'm just sweatpants. I want to be comfy sitting on the couch. So when I'm out, people are always like, well, what do you do? Or when they see me, they're like, I've seen you somewhere before. Now, I know I hope not. It's not going to be from a courtroom, but they'd be like, oh, I saw you out at a party. I saw you out at an event. Or you were DJing. You know, how's that going? And I'm like, well, you know, that's just half of what I do. And then I tell them, oh, I'm an attorney in Virginia. And they're like, for real? You know, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't have to be in a suit 24/7 to tell you. But what happens is, you know, on the entertainment side, when I'm DJing or when we're doing weddings or hosting a wedding or DJing a public event, naturally that kind of segues into people are like, well, hey, I need a lawyer. Or it just kind of rolls into that conversation. And the same care of, you know, taking care of an event or hosting an event, making sure you go A to Z and check all the boxes and are very client attentive. It's the same way when it comes to the law side, when you have to be very client attentive and always, you know, kind of getting feedback and sending emails. So there's, in a weird way, there are a lot of parallels. But one of the things in terms of the drawback, in terms of the people kind of being like, oh, what is the connotation in people's minds for a DJ? They automatically think like nightclub, tons of alcohol, girls, you know, drugs, you know, everything going on. And for me, it's not that. I've been DJing for more than half my life. It's definitely not about that. It's strictly about the music, the vibe, the energy. And one of the hardest parts is telling people like, hey, I get it, I'm DJing in a nightclub, but would it make you feel any different if I was a guitarist in a band or playing a piano, like at a jazz club? I think it would be a little bit different because people's minds would be like, oh, he's just, you know, he's just playing the piano in some piano bar, where it could be 10 times worse, who knows? It's kind of like Bradley Cooper. He's an actor, but then he's got his band. Or Russell Crowe, he does the same thing. And there's just always this kind of push and pull for the two pathways of life. What I will say, though, if I wasn't DJing, I would probably, I don't know, there's no outlet. We all have to have an outlet. And one thing you'll find common with attorneys, all attorneys have something else. we all have this extra medium to kind of have a release, if you want to call it,
Right.
where everybody has something that's completely different than the law, whether it's working out or hiking or painting or DJing. Like I've met other DJ attorneys. It's really cool. And we all have that thing, and it's just a creative side of it.
Well, what I want to talk to you about is, you know, whenever I compare DJs, when I think of the most professional and truly in love DJ, I always think of you. Meaning, like you come up at every single event, super prepared, super enthusiastic, charismatic, super professional. All your equipment, you've double checked, you triple checked. But then also the music, it's like a new canvas for you every time you get in front of a gig. And that gig can literally be, and I've seen it, a 30-person event, and it's been a few thousand-person concert, you know, and your approach is always so professional, which I always appreciate. But what I want you to kind of tell people is about the importance of choosing the right DJ for their wedding. As somebody like you that has done thousands of events, hundreds of weddings, you know, what is the one thing that if there is a bride or groom that's engaged and they're choosing their all-important vendors, what criteria would you want to see in a DJ for your wedding?
Oh man, it's funny you asked me this because everybody asks me like, hey, if you get married one day, who is going to DJ your wedding? And honestly, I'm like, I have no clue. I have I have a few people in mind. Hopefully they're still DJing, whatever that happens.
Don't worry, I'll come back. Don't worry,
Yeah,
man. I got you.
come back out of retirement, please. I'm not going to host my own wedding. But no, you're absolutely right. You know, it's in the same way where I could have like a 5-minute hearing where it's not a big deal. I'm sure attorneys don't even pick up the file until the morning of. I get uneasy because it's my face, it's my name, it's me, it's my impression to a judge, it's the other attorneys looking at me in the courtroom. And so for something that may seem so easy or so routine, I'm still, the morning of, I'm like, oh man, I got to make sure I know everything inside and out. I don't want to be fumbling through anything or all that. And that rolls right into all of my gigs. And I've told this to you before. 5 or 10 minutes before, I'll be like, Iman, man, I'm nervous as hell. And you're like, dude, what are you talking about? This is a piece of cake for you. But it's the butterflies, you know, and that to me, if anybody ever loses that when they have that for something, that means they don't really
They don't care
anymore.
or they don't care.
Yeah, and the fact that I have that, you know, it's a little good freak out session that I had before. I'm freaking out because I always think to myself, shoot, I don't have any music. I don't know what I'm going to play. But then I think to myself, well, what was I playing 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Obviously, I have all that stuff, but it goes into the care of preparing because there's always going to be eyes on you because you're the focal point. For brides and grooms, which I know you and we've talked, the 2022 schedule is coming up. The calendar is looking kind of beautiful now with COVID kind of going away, and brides, God bless the brides and grooms who had to kind of reschedule their weddings. I had a bunch, and we had a bunch this past 3-4 months where they got rescheduled. But to the ones who have booked us for this coming year, thank you so much. It's going to be a night you won't forget because the way I call myself is like a wedding planner 2.0. I run my timelines to every 5 minutes. If I'm looking for a DJ, I want my DJ/host to take that same care and same approach. If they're not asking a ton of questions, I'll get nervous. That's one of the things I'll always double check, triple check in terms of what they want or what they don't want. They may say, oh yeah, that's good. It's not good enough. I really want to dig a little deeper because naturally it's just like doing a client intake on the law side. You may say one little comment and it'll spark a thought in a bride's mind to be like, oh yeah, hey, I want to do this or I want to do that. Or for example, you know, a lot of people, they have a sibling or a very close friend and they have a very particular song with that person. A lot of times they're like, oh, it's the hustle and bustle. I won't worry about it. But if you have that opportunity, I'd want my host and my DJ and my crew, I'd want them to ask me or to remind me. But also, I would want them to keep me at ease. It's one of the things where I would never want to see my host or my DJ or whoever I hire to get flustered and to start freaking out. because if they're freaking out, then I'm going to start freaking out. And we, you know, in any situation, as much as we would like to, I don't think there's ever been a wedding where, in the history of mankind, where everything has gone 100% to the T, by the book, on time, guests arrive, everything. It's just impossible. There's too many variables. But even if the littlest things are off, or if there's major things that are off, I would want my crew that I hire, or in the vice versa, I know I'm not this way. And you can look at our hundreds of 5-star reviews on Yelp and Facebook and everything. We don't get rattled. We've seen it all. There's no surprises in terms of us doing these weddings, whether they're destination weddings. I know we've got Italy coming up this summer, which is going to be a lot of fun. We had Italy, I think, what was it, 2018? We were in Italy together, and that was a joy. So I hope you can brush off your kind of motorbike skills.
Italian.
Yeah, that way I can start filming again with one arm, you know, out the, you know, in the traffic lanes. But yeah, when it comes to hiring, yes, there's tons and tons of DJs and entertainment companies. I think that from the first moment, I would hope that there's a connection made between a bride and groom emailing and calling me or talking to me or sending an email. There's a different vibe that comes through. And I hope that that's what they get from it, because I do feel an energy even through email. I know it sounds weird. I feel an energy.
No, for sure.
When someone sends an email inquiring about their wedding or their event.
Yeah. I think the key takeaway is that if you're an engaged couple and you're looking for a vendor, whichever vendor, is do your research and then hire the best professional that you can, and then just trust them, you know, and that energy is created if the bride and groom, you know, have that trust. And then when we feel they have trust, then our job is easier because we don't feel like we're getting pigeonholed and kind of told what to do.
Right.
All right. So let's kind of go back to your legal career. And I know that there's one aspect of it that you specialize in, which is estate planning. And there was definitely something important that you wanted to share with viewers as far as what they should prepare for and not this can that they keep on kicking down the road. So share your insight on that, please.
Sure. You know, obviously when COVID hit, it's a pandemic, and inherently with, unfortunately, the tragedy of people passing away, it really jogs people's mindset in terms of their families and themselves, and they have kids, to get their estate planning in order. What is going to happen to my assets? Who's going to take care of my kids? It's a really tough situation. We've seen coming right through this door over the last year and a half where people weren't prepared, and they have minor children, and the grandparents have stepped up, but there's no documents in place. Nobody knows about where any accounts are. There's no will. There's no language in terms of who they want the guardian to be. And these are the things where it's kind of like putting it off, like you're going to the dentist. I'll get my cleaning 3 months from now, 6 months from now. I'll put it off and do it later. I have tons of people saying the same thing about their will and estate planning documents. And it's always just the ones who scramble are like, God, I wish I would have done this last year, because we've really streamlined that process. Everything for us is digital. You know, one of the weird things is I don't meet my clients face to face until the very end, until all the documents are done. We do everything through DocuSign and email and phone calls and video conferencing. You know, we're on the very high tech side of doing that. But it's a shame when I have these clients coming in saying, yeah, my husband or wife didn't have a will. All these assets are like named in a different name, or I got to deal with the DMV now. The bank won't let me access the funds, and now the mortgage is due and I can't pay the mortgage. What am I supposed to do? And there's a lot of the red tape that me as an attorney, I can draft it in a way to cut out the red tape, cut out the court, and then give people peace of mind to know that your spouses, your children, they're all protected, they're all taken care of, and you really can kind of sleep easy at night. You know, tragedy happens, COVID or not. Some freak accidents happen sometimes, whether it doesn't necessarily mean death, but it could mean like an incapacity or disability. That's probably one of the saddest parts of the work that I do, is I get these constant like tragedies with families and how they have to kind of deal with it when it's the unexpected, whether it's somebody, unfortunately, you know, whether it's cancer or disability or autism or dementia, or somebody passes away unexpectedly, whether it's COVID or some other unfortunate accident. And it all comes down to preparation. And I beg people, when I see them, I beg them, please, it's not that expensive. We do it all for a flat fee. I'm begging you. Our rates are like comparable to LegalZoom, because we just know exactly how to work the ins and outs. And that's what it comes down to, is just being prepared as much as you can be. So I really stress the estate planning, wills, estates, trusts, taking care of your own personal property to the extent that you can.
So if somebody here wants to reach out to you and get some more information about the service that you provide, what's the best way to contact you?
You obviously, DM is completely fine. I have tons of people who always DM me asking legal questions. I have no problem doing that. You know, obviously there's a lot of attorney-client privilege stuff, but obviously I have no problem answering questions. Our Instagram handle is at KM Lawyers. No dashes, no dots, no spaces. Our website is kmnlawfirm.com. You can type in Kondori and Moorad. We're fortunate to have a kind of a unique name and last name setup where the first, even if you type in my last name, it's one of the top hits there, thankfully. Thanks, Dad. You know, we come up on the search. We have our Yelp page, our website. You can go right in and contact us. I'm sure it's somebody, if you're in the DMV area and you say, hey, DJ Kia, somebody's got my phone number somewhere, somebody has my email somewhere, and feel free. I am more than happy, whether it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night. I have no problem answering people, except if, you know, we're doing IG Live or we're doing a wedding. That's the only time
I can attest that I think I've known Kia for about 13 years now, and I can swear on the fact that I've never had to wait 24 hours to get a reply from Kia. Like it's and the 24 hours is like on the longer end. Usually it's somewhere like 4 to 8 hours. So, and that to me, as like, especially for he represents us too. So it's actually great that I get to work with him. But like as a client, he takes care of you. As a friend, he takes care of you. And as a DJ, he definitely crushes it on the dance floor. So now let's transition to the DJ part again. We're playing this game of, you know, back and forth, but that's what you get for having two great careers, you know. But Zendegi.
And no sleep.
And no sleep. Zendegi is, for those who don't know, is our Persian music live stream under the Unite and Conquer umbrella. You know, we did 10 episodes of it during the summertime. It's 100% Persian music. And you were one of the DJs that we had in rotation. And then on December 29th, we're kicking off a 5-hour special of Zendegi as we restart in 2022. And you'll be one of the DJs along with DJ Yazdan and DJ Sam. A 5-hour experience. Kind of talk about the excitement you have about Zendegi on December 29th, and then just in general, the weekly program that's going to restart.
Sure. You know, it's one of the things, and I'll say this with Sam. I've known Sam for a long, long time. I met him back, oh God, it's been over a decade. A Halloween party night. The guy crushes it on a weekly basis. He's a mainstay of the DMV, and I'm really excited to have him come on board. He's got his own, just like me, he's got his own style, his own kind of, you know, when it's Sam playing. And to bring Yazdan, he's a young gun, and I know because I've heard him live and I've seen him out, and he's also doing things on Decades and these big places in DC. To bring us three together and to have you host, to put something, you know, right before the end of the year, kind of like a nice end of 2021. I don't know how it went by super quick. At least even the last 2-3 months, it felt like 2-3 days. But putting this 5-hour special together is really cool, only because it's live stream. So the people in California or the people ahead of us, people in Iran, I don't know if the stream's working out there, but Europe, you know, we've seen it. We get the messages from people in Armenia who are watching. This is all over the world. And to cover it for 5 hours with me, Sam, and Yazdan, and you hosting, and I'm sure we've got a few other special treats kind of mixed in between. To have a solely dedicated live stream to Persian music is really cool because there's nothing out there. You know, there's always, 30 minutes here, an hour here, but to be able to flip something on and let it run for hours, and you know, the styles that each of us have is going to be a really cool thing. So I hope, just like we did, I'll call it season 1 of Zendegi, just like in season one. That was Thursday nights. We're tweaking the nights now, starting in season two. I'll put air quotes around that. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your boy DJ Kia. You can use that as the promo right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time. Obviously, we had a little gap in between. That helps us kind of reboot, retool. A lot of new music comes in, a lot of new remixes come in, and that keeps our playlists fresh. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's, we'll keep it going as long as we can keep it going, as long as people are interested. So obviously, we appreciate all the support, the comments, the views, the donations. Obviously, there's a lot behind the scenes. We have our techs, videography, lighting. Brandon, God bless him. He's back there behind the studio, behind the monitor. I call him the mad scientist, making sure the live stream works really well. And each time we always find these little tweaks to create a better experience for everybody watching and for the live streamers. And then on top of it all, it stays on YouTube. So obviously, if you miss one, which we hope you don't, feel free to just type it in, Zendegi. We may even call it season 2, episode 1, or season 2, episode 2. It's be right there on YouTube, so you can always refer back. And then you've got playlists on YouTube that you can let roll during your parties or on your drives or while you're at the office.
Definitely, man. No, it's going to be great. It starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time. All the promotional material will actually start tonight. I was waiting to have this conversation with Kia.
Yeah,
so
I haven't even seen it yet, so I'm excited to see the new promo stuff. I was at our place and we did a few things, so I'm really excited to see the new material.
Promos. It's going to be good. I mean, it's going to be great, and I hope that it continues to grow. More importantly, I hope that our viewers enjoy it. It's really for you guys who are out there who love Persian music and just want to kind of experience the music in a unique way, hopefully in a modern way that you guys will enjoy. But yeah, so just like Kia just announced for the very first time, it's not just December 29th. On 29th, we're going to share to everybody that starting Wednesday, January 5th, every Wednesday night, Zendegi will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern for an hour. And I hope that it continues to grow with everybody's support, man. And Kia, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate all that you bring to the ones and twos every time, especially for Zendegi and our weddings. And I hope that you continue to bless our stages and do what you do best, because you take us on a great musical journey, and whoever experiences you live is always in for a treat.
I appreciate that, Iman. It's been a pleasure. I hope both on the law side and on the music side, whoever tuned in. I know there's a bunch of people watching right now. Thank you so much. I know it's still technically in the middle of a work day, West Coast, East Coast, everybody's still working. So everybody who tuned in, thank you so much. Tune in December 29th, 6 p.m. We kick off for a beautiful 5-hour live stream for Zendegi, followed by Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whether you need me on the law side, feel free to reach out to me, or on the event side, if you're doing a wedding or need an event. We've got a couple birthdays coming up for some of our crew, so I'm sure you'll be seeing my IG stories kind of glitter up with that. But Iman, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas time with your family and beautiful time in sunny Miami. We're here in the cold, and you're enjoying the beautiful weather down there. I know our Basil was there, so I'm sure things were popping the last couple of weeks. We're just here, regular old peasants here in the DMV area, waiting for your return to get on the stage up here again, because I know it's on here, and definitely looking forward to the next time.
Thank you, man. Take care of yourself, and we'll be in touch. Shout out to Farzan and Pedram also. Take care. Bye.
Bye.